Hi guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. You're about to experience some information that might change your life. Like, comment and subscribe. Like, comment and subscribe. See you on the other side. So if you want to win big in serviced accommodation, if you want to create a serviced accommodation business that's going to give you an income and that's going to allow you to live life on your own terms, then you've got to understand how to target specific customers or specific guests to stay in your property. I want you to remember this. There are 40 million overnight visitors that come into the UK and spend £28 billion. Your job is to get as many of those eyes, as many of those 40 million people to look at your property. And then by providing a great service or a fantastic product, which means a fantastic property or a beautiful apartment, it means when you've got those 40 million eyes on your apartment, a significant number of those convert and stay in your property. You've got to start looking at your property business as a per night business, because every single night that your property is empty, you are losing money. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about the 5 different people that use serviced accommodation and why you should actively focus on reaching out to every single one of them if you want those 40 million eyes on your property so that you can generate a consistent income in serviced accommodation. So the first people that use serviced accommodation, and I'm sure this is the one on the top of everyone's lips and on the top of your mind, it's leisure. So these are typically people who come into the country because they're coming on holiday or they're coming to visit someone. So that's the 40 million overnight visitors. That's where a chunk of the money for our economy comes from people visiting the country, from tourists coming to visit the country. That's the standard, and you can reach those 40 million people potentially through the OTAs. All you've got to do is provide a great service or a competitive price, and it means you will get a specific amount of those people to come and stay at your property. So number 1 is leisure. Number 2 is groups. If you provide an accommodation that's quite large, so maybe a 3-bed or a 4-bed, and you are in a good area, you're in a very, very unique position to target the group market. Now, the group market is an incredible market because what you get to do is you get to charge per person per night. Now, think about this. If this is a French family, French people love to eat and stay together, and you've got an apartment that sleeps 10 people. An apartment that sleeps 10 people divided by let's say £200 means that they're paying £10 per night or £20 per night. What you've got to do is make sure if you've got a large apartment in a great location, you are actively targeting group stayers. That gives you a very, very unique opportunity to outrank, to completely destroy your competition, simply because the groups would usually need to book 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hotel rooms. But if you're providing that service where they can all stay together, eat together and hang out together, it means you're always going to win that business. Number 3, contractors. Now, contractors is a big, massive market. The contractor market makes us a lot of money because we take on certain properties in certain locations and we work on and we have a complete strategy on how to reach out to local developers or local companies that are building developments. And what they tend to do is they go outside of their area and they hire contractors. So these are builders, painters, window fitters, lifts and elevator fitters, and they bring them into where they're building these developments. And they need to house them for 3, 6, 9 months while they are working on this development right here. Your job is to actively target those companies. You are missing a big trick if you're just focusing on just the tourism market and the group market. Because no matter what happens, there are still going to be new buildings that need to be built every single day, every single week, and there are multiples being built every single year. If you tap into that market, it means you get a consistent flow and you get people that stay with you for a 3-month, 6-month, 9-month period, and you get the consistent income. In some of our properties, we've got people that stay with us for 3 months at a time. Some people who have booked with us for 6 months at a time. And the longest we've had is someone that stayed with us for a year and a half, and they've stayed for 3 days a week for a year and a half, for over 18 months. That's because we know how to actively target these people so that we're winning the contractor market. Number four, corporates. Corporates are very, very interesting. They can give you long-term business because all you have to do is build a relationship with a decision maker and the game changes completely for you. A corporate person is someone that works for maybe a bank, or maybe they're a lawyer, or maybe they have some sort of corporate job, which means at times they may need somewhere to stay overnight very quickly because they're working on a project. They have to be back in the office early in the morning. So instead of going all the way back home, they might just check into a hotel, or they might check into one of our serviced accommodation and then go back to work in the morning. Typically, their company pays, and it's usually an expense. So a lot of times, if you're in the right location, if you've targeted these people, you've built a relationship with people who are working in your local area, you can win that market as well. And then number five is something that most people don't actively pursue, and that's what we call bleisure. Bleisure stands for business people that also stay for a little bit of leisure.